Hello, everybody, and welcome to Mindset Learn Extra. We are live right here on your favorite learning channel. It is channel 319. My name is Pumi, and today we have Ozzy, who is going to be offering economics. Hello, Ozzy.
Hello, Pumi.
Unjani ba?
It's Njani.
I'm all good, thank you. So
Okay.
today we're doing economics right now, and I'd like you to tell us what we're going to be learning about.
Okay, learners out there. The main thing for us today, we'll be dealing with the economics questions, and we'll be focusing more onto the question paper for February 2012, which was a question paper which was written for supplementary examination.
Okay.
There is quite a number of things that we'll be talking about today. We also want to focus on the fact of how to approach these questions, and so that you are able to realize what we need to do once we see such questions in an exam situation.
Wow, great. Well, guys, I cannot wait. Now, guys, if you also cannot wait, please make sure that you log on to Facebook so that we can interact and ask questions, because Ozzy will be answering them in a short while. But right now, guys, remember to go there straight to mindset.co.za/learn/extra/winter school. This is winter school, and we are doing revision, exam revision and everything like that. So please interact with us, because we'd love to help you. Now, guys, remember, we are also giving away nice CDs right over there, sponsored by Soul Candy. Thanking Soul Candy for this wonderful opportunity, giving us a chance to give you mindsetters at home CDs. So please enter. The name of the competition is called Stop the Clock. Now, this is how you stop the clock, by logging straight to mindset.co.za/learn/stop the clock. That is the name of the competition, where you can enter excuse me, enter your details, and straight after entering your details, choose any number between 0 and 9. All of the details will be posted on our Facebook page. It's simple as that, in order for you to win this cool and awesome prizes. And right over here, I have this nice little CD case. Here it is. Yes, guys, you can get to win that by simply liking us on Facebook as well, and entering that competition. And everybody else who was nominate, or rather who was close to winning, will be having their names we'll be having their names on the draw, and then after that we will be announcing who it is that will be walking away with this nice case of CDs. Now, guys, let me just give Ozzy a chance to show you a little bit more on economics.
Okay, thank you very much, Pumi. Learners, what is the most important thing that we'll be dealing with in these questions today? We'll be looking specifically on macroeconomics, and we will be doing also later on, we'll be dealing with microeconomics. So there is certain questions that we have pinpointed, or rather picked them from these questions. We have question 2 taken from question 2.1 from the question paper, as I said, for February 2012. The first question there on micro was stating that in a circular flow, savings is an example of a leakage or an injection. I know you are guessing at home there, and most of you have got it right. Some are still confused, but the correct answer here will then be what? Who can tell us, wherever you are, learners? It's going to be a leakage.
Yeah.
Savings, why is it becoming a leakage? Because we are looking at this circular flow diagram. And this circular flow diagram, whatever escapes the diagram is called a leakage. It's getting out of the economic system, and therefore it cannot be accounted for as part of working for the economy anymore. So it's called a leakage. The next question will be then a question on, the next question then will be direct investment, include investment, direct investment. People, we should know these concepts. It's not that we might have heard about them, but we're just moving past them without understanding what is happening. Direct investment include investments in antiques, or fixed property. Direct investment, we are referring to the investment that comes direct in the form of fixed property. As I've already said the answer, fixed property, that would be the correct answer on that. And the next one here will be, remember, we don't need to, as you are working on an exam situation, we don't spend a lot of time on this question. You've got only 3 hours to answer the question paper. And each question paper has got from lower order questions, and they go right up to the higher order questions where you need to discuss things and so on. So these are the questions that, though you don't pass them and guess, you need to understand what you are doing. The budget is presented to the Parliament by the Minister. Is it the Minister of Finance or is it the Minister of Public Enterprise? Obviously, that will be the Minister of Finance. The last question, I think the next question here will be now, government intervention was condemned by the Keynesian or monetarists. Keynesian, these are the people from the school of thought where Lord Keynes was one of the biggest economists there. And the monetarists are the ones, remember when you talk of government intervention in this context, we are referring to the secular, in fact, the business cycle where we need to use these different types of, whether it's fiscal or monetary policies in order to regulate these cycles. So the monetarists were saying, no, we don't need the government involvement in terms of regulating this. This can happen automatically, what they call automatic regulation. However, what we need is, we need to see this. Let's move into the next question. Okay. Okay. All right, that is the end. Yes.
Okay.
Okay, I'm struggling, learners.
Okay. All right then. Okay, you know what, guys? I think
okay.
that. Okay.
All right, there we are.
Okay.
We have here with us now the answers to question 2 on macroeconomics, which says question 2 lists 3 sectors that are used to calculate the gross value added at basic price. Gross value added at basic prices. Very important concept, boys and girls out there, learners. The gross value added at basic prices. What are we referring to when we say this? Remember that there's 3 methods of calculating our national income. Though we say national income, but we're talking here in terms of gross national income. So remember that there is a difference between national and domestic. But so in this particular instance, we are referring more on gross domestic income. This value-added method, we are referring to the production method of calculating our gross domestic product. 3 ways. We've got what? We've got the income method, we've got the production method, which we refer to as the gross value-added method, and also the expenditure method. Remember that the gross value added, why we refer to it as gross value added? Because we don't want to calculate our income twice. So we calculate our production and the value of all the products produced within a country by looking specifically on what has been produced in the primary sector, and then we just calculate the value as it moves to the secondary sector, the difference in the value as it's added as it moves throughout these different levels of production. Because if you calculate, say, primary sector, and you say we got so much gold and diamond, and we give it a price, and then we move on to the secondary sector, and we say we produce so many rings and watches and stuff like that, and then we move to the tertiary and say, well, okay, we sold so many watches and stands and so on. So we don't have to do that, because then you'll be calculating this, this gross domestic product more than twice, which is called what? Double counting. And that becomes a problem in calculating the national income. That's why this was introduced to say our production method, we use value-added method. We only calculate the value as it moves on, the value added as it moves on the production, of this gross national product. Where am I now? I want to go to the next question. The next question here for us, learners, is very simple. I think it's simple, but it's not simple question as such. It is about the Laffer curve. This Laffer curve says, study the graph below and answer the questions that follow. The Laffer curve shows us the relationship between the revenue and taxes. But let's first see the questions that Laffer curve is based on. What kind of questions? Right? It says, what is illustrated by the Laffer curve? That is the clear question. So I think the graphs in economics help us to understand and rather conceptualize the concepts that you are talking about, to be able to make them practical and understand them. You look at the vertical axis of this graph, shows you that this, we're talking here of tax revenue, and the horizontal axis is what? The tax rate. So this graph just shows us the relationship between tax rate and also the tax revenue, that what is the relation between the two. And we realize, according to this curve, that tax can induce, or rather can induce incentives for learners to, for the workers or the labor force to work more or to work less. The smaller the rate of tax, we realize that the yield to the tax revenue could be 1 rand in this particular instance. And when we move, if we raise our tax income, our tax rate to 40%, we realize that our tax revenue will increase. But at some instance, if we then move to the 80% tax rate on income that is earned by the people, then people say, the labor force will say, no, I'm not working anymore, or some of them will lose the oomph of working extra hours in order to produce more, and so on. So as a result, this tax rate will then induce workers to what? To work less than what is supposed. So it is important also in the practical terms that the progressive system of tax that is used by the economy or the government of that country of the day should be in such a way that it doesn't discourage people from producing more, because we have other things that we look at in the economy. We're looking at growth, production growth, we're talking about economic growth, so that if we would cost people to produce less, then we have a very serious problem in the economy. So that is the situation. But there's the answer to that. It is showing that, it shows that the relation between the tax rate and the tax revenue of the government. The next question is what? At what point will government revenue maximize? If we look at this once more, where will the government maximize? Where will it maximize its what? In this graph we can see where can it maximize. Learners, I think it's quite clear. I can hear you somewhere saying that it's going to be point V, because that is the highest point where it yields more tax revenue to the state. But however, if we move then to the next level, then it means we are having a very serious problem of less collection of tax and other things also prevailing there. So the answer is there. It's that at point V, the government will maximize its tax. I mean, yes. And the third question says, what will be the effect on government revenue if the tax rate increases 40% to 80%? We have discussed this earlier, that the effect will be negative, obviously. It will be negative in a sense that people will start working less, but again, other adverse situations may prevail there. Because what will be the effect of the government revenue? The tax will be less. Tax revenue will bound to decrease because people now are working less, so they are not earning more tax. As a result, the tax will decrease. Then, if you see that, you see these questions, boys and girls, you must understand that we're talking economics here. These concepts don't just sit there on air. If you think and interpolate what could happen, what are the other effects, long-term effects? If the tax revenue decreases, then what happens? It means the government cannot deliver because there's no money in order to finance public sector spending. So government expenditure will have to decrease, and that becomes a problem. It means less education, less health, less other public goods and services will decline. So it is important that the government uses correct tax in order to see to it that the economy runs smooth. The next question says, what is the implication of the government if the taxpayer is taxed at 100%? At 100%, what is the implication? Let's look at again that we can realize at 100%, what is 100 is equals to 0. And if the government induces 0%, it means people will work and work more, but there's no tax collected. So at 100%, it would mean then very few people, if still any, are working. Let's see the answer to that. It says 100% tax. 100% tax, nobody will be prepared to work, and the revenue of government will be also 0%. What illegal behavior by the worker will be encouraged if the tax rate is too high? What illegal behavior? I think it's also it's economical, but it's also common sense. If people don't pay tax, they are generating income one way or the other, but they are not paying this tax. It means what happens to the tax? We talk about the concept tax evasion. We also talk of the concept tax avoidance. One is the legal way of not paying tax, and the other one is an illegal way of not paying tax. Tax evasion is when police will be moving up and down, detectives looking around, investigating whether people are paying tax or not, and if they get them, then they lock them up. Tax avoidance is the smart way, which is used by producers not to pay tax. Rather, they will take the money and say, okay, let us sponsor so and reduce our profit on income, profit tax, so that money is used to generate because it's what? It's also marketing the company and the products. At the same time, the company is selling more and more goods. At the same time, they are also gaining for giving those people. So that is tax avoidance. So that one is a legal way. But there we go. Tax evasion will occur in most cases when there is when the government is charging a very high tax rate. So to avoid that, let us also make it a point that we would meet again.
All right, cool. Guys, let me just give you a very exciting challenge for you guys there. I'm sure you are watching and learning so much in economics. We have this exciting challenge called Courier. So this is where you have to go in order for you to submit all of your answers, or rather answer the quizzes. We have it's at www.courier.co.za. The nicest thing is you can also find it on Mixit. Now here is the code for you. It's 43TG W. It is on Facebook. Over this ad break, please go on Facebook just to check the code, just in case you didn't hear me out. And when we come back, I'm going to explain the number of likes that we have for the competition that we are running called Stop the Clock. Guys, we'll see you right after this. Welcome back, mindsetters. From that short break, I'm sure that you're ready to take this challenge where we have Curie. So all what you have to do is just to answer as many questions as you can on our quiz, and then we'll have the answers later on. But right now, guys, I'd like to send a quick shout out to Lex Leon, Gugu Sonto Matonzela, Eni Dibangs, Jose Johannes Rampu, Gift Mick Mel Monye. Guys, we will answer all of your questions with time right here on the show. And remember, guys, we are running this competition sponsored by Soul Candy. It is called Stop the Clock. We are giving away a nice CD right over there. We have plenty of CDs right over here. We gave away music earlier on. We have C9. We have Deep House Chronicles. We had Cuba. You know what, guys? We really love hearing from you guys. All what you have to do though is just to go straight to www.mindset.co.za/learn/stop the clock. That is where you can enter your guess between 0 and 9. There's a nice form right over there where you can fill in your details and then guess, and yeah, it's as simple as that, and then you can get to win these nice CDs right over there. And one another thing, guys, is that we are giving away this nice CD bag. It has nice little pockets in it where you can keep all of your CDs safe. But then without any further waste of time, guys, I'm sure that you are liking on Facebook and telling your friends to like us on Facebook. Any lucky number will be walking away with these nice CDs and this bag. Right now, guys, let's just carry on with economics, and we'll bring all of your answers with time.
Thank you very much, Pumi. We're back again, learners. We are proceeding with our questions. Remember, one of the big important things that we are doing here is to familiarize ourselves with these questions that are common in exams, and also how to approach these questions in terms of answering with the marker locations that are given there. One of the most popular questions that we have on macroeconomics is based on business cycle. I've often had learners making a big mistake between a business cycle and an economic cycle. So remember, don't make that mistake, because sometimes you are not given the graph, but the question simply asks you to, by means of a graph, draw the business cycle and answer or whatever. It can come as in a way of a essay type question or any kind of question. But fortunately this time we have a graph that is given to you so that you are able to attack this question in the best way you can. Once more, I think the examiners have said this repeatedly, that please make sure that whenever you see or have to draw a graph, make sure that your graph is labeled. And that is why no chance must be taken. I've seen often when marking, learners just draw a graph and they draw a nice picked graph, but only to find that there's no labels to show what is on the vertical axis, horizontal, and so on, and the different types of things drawn inside the graph. Here's our business cycle, boys and girls. The first question says, name one turning point in the business cycle. I think that is very clear, because we can see the business cycle. On the vertical axis, we've got the index of economic activities. I don't want to ask people what do we mean by these economic activities, but we all know the economic activities such as production, employment, unemployment, inflation, consumption, investment, all these economic activities, and this shows the time. And whilst it shows the time, it also shows why it jumps back. Oh, yeah. Oh, there we go.
Oh.
I'm getting there. All right. So there we are. One turning point of this business cycle. Remember, I was just still explaining the issue on economic activities. This shows that these economic activities increase over time, and as time goes on, they keep increasing and decreasing. So what would be asked in substance, what is happening during this period? We know that this period is called prosperity, and it is a period of the upswing in the economic activities. This period here is called prosperity. Prosperity, just to save time, and obviously then The question comes, this is our question, one turning point, this is the upper turning point of the business cycle. There's our upper turning point of the business cycle. So, and as we move on with time, we realize that these economic activities, they tend to then lessen, they go down. We call this recession. Then it means when you look at this position, you know that the level of employment increases, productivity increases, also inflation increases. So remember, the government therefore, or the country, let's put it as economy because that's what we study, has got an obligation then to use either fixed fiscal policies or monetary policy in order to dampen the economy so that we are able to get a situation where the economy cools off. Then we have recession and then depression. There is a very bad situation where lots of people are unemployed, the unemployment takes place, and poverty and all that comes with it. So that the government must stimulate the economy once more so that we move up again. But the question, let us stay with the question. What is our question? One, already pointed out the first one. There's the upper turning point and the lower bottom turning point. There we got D and B as our turning points. Let's see what our answer is there. Our answer. Okay. Okay. There we go. B and D are just the peak and the trough. If someone wants to be smart and write a peak and a trough, is still fine because it means you understand what you're talking about. The next question says here, what is the what is indicated by the trend? Let's go back to the graph once more. The trend line, you can see that broken line that goes across our business cycle is called a trend line. What is indicated by the trend line? I think it's quite clear to say if this is time, we can put years, if you like, years 2000, 2001, 2000 until we realize this upward trend. It shows that there is a inherent economic growth pattern in the economy of the country, unlike if it was straight like that, which shows that there's no. So in other words, we realize that there are mini cycles that are going in and out within the bigger picture of the business cycle. So that produces this trend line, which shows that there is a trend of an increasing growth in the economy over time. And then that's our answer. Our answer goes, I'll get there. There we say, it's indicated that the expected growth rate of the country, also referred to as a long-term growth potential. I think that is quite weighted. Long-term growth potential of the economy, or rather the direction in which the indexes that we use in business cycle move. I think that's the very important one, is that indicated the expected growth, the expected growth, expected growth rate. We'll remember this, please. I know that you won't forget, but growth is there, at least growth rate, expected. What is expected? When we see that picture of the growth rate, what is expected of us in the economy? What is happening? It means the growth, there's growth in productivity in the country, or rather the term growth potential of the economy, or rather it shows that the direction in which the economy goes. Remember, boys and girls, in an exam, you don't have to impress anybody. Don't impress anybody, because if its question says 2 marks for you, you don't write all these things, because if one of them is stated, an expected growth rate, full stop, that's fine, it's 2 marks. You don't have to spend a lot of time to show you know what it is in different languages and forms. So let's leave it like that. 2 marks, look at your time, look at your question, be very short and precise when 2 marks is required of you. The next question here says, explain how the government can stimulate economic activity in an effort to smooth out business cycle. Very, very popular question, boys and girls. Very popular, this question. How does the government stimulate the economic activity in an effort to smooth out business cycle? In other words, when we say we want economic stable, or rather stable economy, we say that the economy, though it cannot be stable like, but somewhere in the region, it should not be too high and too low. So we must keep it at a certain level. I know that we keep our inflation targets at a certain level so that we are not out of bounds at a certain time. So what we are saying, we say in this business cycle, we don't want to find ourselves in a situation where the business cycle goes as high. But remember what happens during prosperity, amongst other things, is that once people get employed, the level of income increases, also the level of prices, because there's too much money chasing few goods. So the demand, aggregate demand, is above the aggregate supply, or the productivity is less compared to the consumption. So that causes what? Prices to go high and high. And that means then the people who are poor, the people on a bread level are unable to purchase certain essential goods because the price, remember, you think about it, if the price of bread is 50 rands, then what would we do? Then it is the obligation of the government then to smooth the business cycle. How do they do that? Because that is our question. Our question says, how does the government smooth out the cycles? Right. The government can smooth the cycle at the upper turning point. We rather use the expansionary tools of smoothing the cycle. At the lower turning points, we use what? Those stimulating ones. The most important tools that we use in order to stimulate this economy, or rather to dampen it, we use two important as the monetary policy, or we use what we call the monetary policy, or we use the fiscal policy. Monetary policy instrument that is best known is what? The interest rate. If the interest rate go high, it means people must buy less on credit. Then it means we dampening the economy at the upper turning point. In order to dampen the economy, then we use those expansionary monetary policy. But we can also use the fiscal monetary policy, where we use what? Our government expenditure versus what? Our taxation. If we charge people more tax, then it means, remember, they will work less, and then it means they won't produce more goods. As a result, some of them will earn less money, so that they don't buy more goods, so that it is just a thing that goes on and on. Or we can use government expenditure, less government expenditure on top. But the very important thing when we expand the economy at the bottom turning point is that monetary policy interest rates must go low, so that we encourage people to buy, even if when they don't have money in a form of credit. And also our fiscal policy, then it means we charge less tax to the citizens, so that the citizens have got more money in their pocket, they can start spending more money, and then the economy if they spend more, it means the demand for goods increases, and then production must also automatically increase. And if production has to increase, therefore we need demand more labor to produce, then employment increases, so we stimulate the economy and it moves up. Let us see how these were answered, because I keep forgetting this arrow. Okay, there we go. It says, using expansionary monetary policies, e.g., reducing the interest rate, because remember what it says here. It says, how do we stimulate? So I explained both turning points, the upper and the lower. But if we have to stimulate, then it means what we do. we only use expansionary monetary policies, and also by reducing what? Interest rate. And we can also use expansionary fiscal policy, e.g. by reducing tax. And government expenditure, e.g. capital investment, projects, and so on. The next question, 4.4 says, what impact do you think will a huge investment such as the Gautrain project have on the business cycle? What effect? A project such, like it says here, it already tells you already that we're talking here about what? Let me change color now. I see people are saying, oh, he likes orange. Well, let's use another color. What impact do you think a huge investment, this word is very important, boys and girls, such as Gauteng project will add on the business cycle? Okay? There's quite a number of ways that these are the questions, we call them open-ended questions. We only want to know the inside of the learner when we do. So it's no hard and fast. There we are. If the business cycle is currently in a downswing, it will lead to a turning point, obvious, because then it would mean it is investment. Remember, it's investment is also government expenditure. It is government expense, so then lots of people will be employed to build that railway. Lots of employment is created, income increases, and more goods are bought, and then more production must take place, which leads to another employment cycle to take place. So that will actually generate an increase in the economic activities. It will lead to a turning point, or rather an upward turning point. Moving into a upswing, all right, upper turning point, moving to an upswing. If the business cycle is currently in an upswing, it will lead to an extended expansion phase. So we have to be very careful these projects when do we implement them. Because if it is already in the upswing, then it will keep on going higher and higher, and gross things may take place after that. We are just about to go to a net break. We'll come back. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Well, thanks, Ozzy. I've got a very nice comment right over there from Tsegofatso Matato saying, mindset is the best. I'm enjoying economics right now. Guys, thank you so much for watching. It's not the end of the show right now, but then I just want to thank you for watching, because right over here, we have notes that we have posted for you guys at home. I mean, if ever you want to learn more on what we are doing right now, we are also having the notes up on the page. Zonke Euphoria Makatu also wanted the notes on the page. So guys, the notes are on the page right now, so you can get them from there and then carry on with us as we learn more in economics. Right now, let's take a break. We'll see you shortly. Welcome back, guys, from an ad break. We are still giving away these nice CDs from Soul Candy. Thanking you guys for participating on the show. We can see you guys are posting all of your questions. It's very interesting, and we are definitely going to answer all of your questions. And right over here, I have this nice CD by Deep House Chronicles. Any one of you guys at home can get to win this, and in order for you to win this, it's just to jump straight to our page. It is www.mindset.co.za/learn/stop the clock. And speaking of stopping the clock, we are about to stop the clock and see who is, or rather who could be winning this nice DVD from Soul Candy. So yay, wow, we're on the page. Ozzy just refreshed, I think. All right. Oh, okay, cool. Let me just say let's refresh again. Let's go to that page. Great stuff. Whoever it is, guys, who chose number 4 could be winning this Deep House Chronicles CD. Yeah. Congratulations to all the number 4s. Let me see. Yeah, we are there. All right, thank you, Ozzy. All right, then, guys, listen. Thank you so much for participating on this competition. Yes. whoever it is who won this will have their names on the will have their name we will post their name on the page. So all what you have to do is just to keep on checking for the recent posts on our Facebook page. And yes, we are also going to be giving away this nice suitcase as promised. All right, guys, it is just as simple as that. If you jump onto our page, that's what you can see right now. Guys, let's just keep on learning. It is our last segment of the show. Ozzy?
Okay, back to our business of the day. Thank you, Lenas. We appreciate, we're happy that you're getting to win CDs and all that so that you can also enjoy the holidays whilst you're watching Mindset. We are moving on, Lenas. We're looking at microeconomics. I am sure that there are questions that are coming in. Those questions, yes, we'll deal with them. For now, we're still looking more specifically on the questions that were designed for today specifically, but definitely we will address your questions. The question on microeconomics says what? The question 5. It says, discuss monopoly as a market structure and illustrate with aid of a graph how monopolies can achieve economic profit. This is on microeconomics, but remember, this is an essay type question, boys and girls. Very, very important, because often we make this announcement and all the time people make lots of mistakes in terms of approaching an essay type question. One very important thing is that there has to be an introduction, there has to be the body, and there also has to be what? The conclusion. Those 3 important aspects are not only it's important when you're writing English essays. In economics, we insist that we need to have those things in place. There is marks allocated for the 3 of them. It's very important that we do those aspects. All right. If we look at this now, the way we approach this, firstly, it says a market structure. This market structure is what? Market structure. In which there is only one, it tells you, the question tells you already, it is only one seller. One seller. I know you are saying to me, oh, why is Ozzy doing this? Because mono means one. We know that's one seller. And that is what now. The first thing that we have to do is what? That introduction is very clear. That is one seller in the market and whose service that has no close substitute. We say close substitute. What do we mean by this substitute, boys and girls? Very simple. I know boys are saying no, but he cannot tell you that. You don't tell us that, because we know when we play soccer, when they take another soccer player out and put it, they call it a substitute. Fine, it's true. Substitute is something that can be used in place of another. So it means when we say that a monopolist does not have close substitute, we are saying that there is no other firm or producer who would produce any product that will be identical to the product that is done by the other, or anything that is close to that. So that is a monopoly, in typical monopoly in the market. I know some people are saying, I'm thinking Eskom. Correct. Eskom, there's no electricity supply in South Africa except Eskom, so that makes it a monopoly. But be careful, because Eskom falls under the group of industries what we fall under parastatals. Those are government-owned part. So, and well, they are a certain extent of certain aspects that they have what outsourced, so that to speak, so that they are owned by private individuals. But let's not get there, it's a topic on its own. But there we have our introduction. Nobody cannot, I mean, it's not difficult for people to do something like this in order to get 5 marks. Introduction. And often in the marking center, sometimes people are rewarded for I don't want to say do that, but I'm just saying that if you don't do it, then you lose a lot of marks. Sometimes you find that the introduction or the conclusion may not link closely, but we look and search some kind of relationship that may occur. As a result, we end up getting those marks that you may not necessarily deserve. Monopoly as a market, there we start discussing. Remember, the question says what? The question does say that we need to show how profit is attained by a monopoly. That's where we need to arrive at. But in the process, whilst we do that, we discuss monopoly as a market. Essay type questions are open-ended questions. You can put anything you know as long as it is something to do with what? With monopoly. There's an example of it. They didn't say, tell us the characteristic of a monopoly. But here you are starting to discuss. But be very, very careful, boys and girls out there. It is easier when you discuss your points. Bullet them. Ne? Show them in point form so that an examiner, when marking, is able to see that this is the end of the first one. So what people do normally, they rap when they write essays. You know, I know you are rapping. Some of those CDs are based on, those rap music. A person will write, the monopoly consists out of one single firm, example, Eskom, TBS, what, nature, you see. Then at the end, when you have full stop there, then I give 2 marks. So you see how many marks you have forgotten, because I haven't seen how you separate your points. It's very, very, very important. Don't bother to, you see how clear, simple and straightforward this is. It says point, there you got a point, 2 marks, point, 2 marks for mentioning, 2 marks, 2 marks, 2 marks for the nature of the product. The product is unique, no close substitute. Examples, diamonds are unique, 2 marks. The entry to the market, it refers to how easy or difficult it is for business to enter or leave the market. 2 marks. And in fact, this one, because it's a monopoly, then it means this is just a framework. It means that we need to tell us in the case of a monopoly, is it difficult or easy? It is difficult. Often not, and there's barriers to entry. It's not accessible. Think about the previous example I've mentioned, Eskom. If you want to start competing with Eskom, where do you start? Infrastructure, cables, and all those things. Definitely, there is no way you can compete. So those are the kind of markets where market entry is entirely, completely blocked. Yes, a number of barriers to entry that may give rise to a monopoly can be economies of scale or limited size of the market, or exclusive ownership of raw material, or patents, or licensing, or sole rights, or import restrictions. Yeah, these are the reasons why there could be entries. Either the market is huge in such a way that a small Aussie like me cannot start opening that kind of a business because it is too big, the size. Maybe the market, people like the diamond fields, then you cannot, they are the ones who dig the diamonds. So where will you get diamonds to compete with them? So that is those things that we look at. The 4th point, very important, market information. Monopolies, all information on the market condition is available to both buyers and sellers. That means that there are no uncertainties. For monopolies, all information on the market condition is available only for monopolies. Remember that this one characteristic of information is that there is lack of information in this kind of market because there is no competition. Where there is competition, every time when you see this store, Edgar's, then you get Trueworths, they give you pamphlets on their prices and what they have in their stores. So there's plenty of information. With monopolies, very, very little, if there is any. Control over prices, regarded as, it's called a price maker. Why is it called a price maker? Because there is no competition. We will see in a graph that follows. It is able to influence price through changing the quantity, but limited by market demands and the goal of profit maximization. Monopolies choose the combination of price. They choose a combination of price. Okay, there we go. Right. Monopolies choose the combination of price and quantity that suits it best. So that is, boys and girls, there is a graph that goes with this. Okay, in fact, these are more of those characteristics which are still about monopoly. Marginal revenue, we got issues on cost of production. Look, the shape of the marginal cost and average cost curve are the same as in the case of a perfect competition. So we don't have to wonder so much. There we go. We have price. On the vertical axis, we've got quantity. On the horizontal axis, remember, marginal revenue curve runs downwards. In other words, this downward slope, sorry. Okay, right. There's a downward slope for the marginal revenue, and we also have the demand curve, which is running not on the same axis. Unlike in the case of a perfect market where we have a horizontal demand curve, and then we have our marginal cost followed by our average cost, and then we have our profit maximization as a point where marginal cost is equals to our average cost, which is this point here. Remember that our demand curve in a perfect competition is also equals to our average revenue, which is equals to our marginal revenue. So this demand curve is there. Also, if I may change the color, and you find that also the average cost curve is there, and also the other. But in the case of a monopoly, they are running separate, marginal revenue and average revenue. But you see, let us always remember that the maximization point will always be at a point where marginal cost and our average, our marginal revenue curve. There's that point. We call it a point of profit maximization. It's profit maximization. Boys and girls, in fear of running out of time, we realize that at a point where and there's a big difference between our marginal revenue and also our average revenue, our marginal cost and marginal revenue, we have what we call our economic profit. Maybe next time we meet, maybe we should look at that. Thank you over to Pumi. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Ozzy. It was a great show. Now, guys, thank you so much for watching the show. We are currently at 45,400 people liking us on Facebook. Thank you so much, and congratulations to everybody that won themselves the nice CD sponsored by Soul Candy. We will also be posting who the winner is, so check the page. Keep on checking the page. You could be the winner. And again, guys, we will be also giving away this suitcase, the nice bag from Soul Candy. So we will also announce the winner right there on the page. Right now, guys, it is now time to say goodbye, and thank you so much for watching us live on Mindset Learn Extra. From me, Pumi, it's bye-bye. Hello everybody, and welcome to Mindset Learn Extra. We are live right here on your favorite learning channel. It is channel 319. My name is Pumi, and today we have Ozzy, who is going to be offering economics. Hello, Ozzy.
Hello, Pumi.
Unjani? I'm all good, thank you. So today we're doing economics right now, and I'd like you to tell us what we're going to be learning about.
Okay, learners out there. The main thing for us today, we'll be dealing with the economics questions, and we'll be focusing more onto the question paper for February 2012, which was a question paper which was written for supplementary examination. So
Okay.
there is quite a number of things that we'll be talking about today. We also want to focus on the fact of how to approach these questions, and so that you are able to realize what we need to do once we see such questions in an exam situation.
Wow, great. Well, guys, I cannot wait. Now, guys, if you also cannot wait, please make sure that you log on to Facebook so that we can interact and ask questions, because Ozzy will be answering them in a short while. But right now, guys, remember to go there straight to mindset.co.za/learn/extra/winter school. This is winter school, and we are doing revision, exam revision and everything like that. So please interact with us, because we'd love to help you. Now, guys, remember, we're also giving away nice CDs right over there, sponsored by Soul Candy. Thanking Soul Candy for this wonderful opportunity, giving us a chance to give you mindsetters at home CDs. So please enter. The name of the competition is called Stop the Clock. Now, this is how you stop the clock, by logging straight to mindset.co.za/learn/stop the clock. That is the name of the competition, where you can enter excuse me, enter your details, and straight after entering your details, choose any number between 0 and...
Okay. Okay. Okay, the next question then will be direct investment, include investment, direct investment. People, we should know these concepts. It's not that we might have heard about them, but you know, we're just moving past them without understanding what is happening. Direct investment include investments in antiques or fixed property. Direct investment, we are referring to the investment that comes direct in the form of fixed property. As I've already said the answer, fixed property, that would be the correct answer on that. And the next one here will be, remember, we don't need to, as you are working on an exam situation, we don't spend a lot of time on this question. You've got only 3 hours to answer the question paper. And each question paper has got from lower order questions, and they go right up to the higher order questions where you need to discuss things and so on. So these are the questions that, though you don't pass them and guess.
9. All of the details will be posted on our Facebook page. It's simple as that, in order for you to win this cool and awesome prizes. And right over here, I have this nice little CD case. Here it is. Yes, guys, you can get to win that by simply liking us on Facebook as well and entering that competition. And everybody else who was nominated, or rather who was close to winning, will be having their names we'll be having their names on the drawer, and then after that we will be announcing who it is that will be walking away with this nice case of CDs. Now, guys, let me just give Ozzy a chance to show you a little bit more on economics.
Okay, thank you very much, Pumi. Learners, what is the most important thing that we'll be dealing with in these questions today? We'll be looking specifically on macroeconomics, and we will be doing also later on, we'll be dealing with microeconomics. So there is certain questions that we have pinpointed, or rather picked them from these questions. We have question 2 taken from question 2.1 from the question paper, as I said, for February 2012. The first question there on micro was stating that in a circular flow, savings is an example of a leakage or an injection. I know you are guessing at home there, and most of you have got it right. Some are still confused, but the correct answer here will then be what? Who can tell us wherever you are, learners? It's going to be a leakage.
Yeah.
Savings, why is it becoming a leakage? Because we are looking at this circular flow diagram. And this circular flow diagram, whatever escapes the diagram is called a leakage. It's getting out of the economic system, and therefore it cannot be accounted for as part of working for the economy anymore. So it's called a leakage. The next question will be then a question on